Hi, this is Paul Scott Murphy. I'd like to show you a demonstration of what is really the culmination of capabilities made possible through Symphony as a data orchestration platform. The Data Agents extension that I'm going to show now combines AI technologies with the Symphony platform itself in a very unique way. When Cirata calls Symphony a data orchestration platform, this extension is the best representation of what that means. Let's get straight into it. I've got Symphony available with a set of extensions operating in it, including those for Iceberg table replication, the visibility of data migrations, integration with AI technologies, integration with observability systems, and a lot more. But I've added one more, this Data Agents extension. Let me show you what it makes possible. Data Agents connects to and uses AI models like those from OpenAI, Anthropic's Claude, and Google Gemini. Or it can be configured to use custom models, or those that might run on private infrastructure. I've got my instance using OpenAI's GPT 4.1. As the name implies, the Data Agents extension is built on the concept of agents, which operate intelligently and continuously in Symphony, combining the intelligence of AI models with secure, controlled access to everything Symphony can connect to and do with data. They understand where data sets are located, what's being done to that data, whether any replication is underway, how well that's performing, whether there are any issues occurring, and they can be augmented with other information and skills to achieve whatever's needed to orchestrate a data environment. Now, that may sound complicated to achieve, but the Data Agents extension makes it extremely simple. Let me show you some examples. Check public cloud storage pricing weekly and tell me if I can further optimize my data placement to reduce costs. So what I've done just now is use the command bar in the Data Agents extension to ask Symphony to create an agent to do work on my behalf. And you can see it's responded to my prompt by creating an agent here, which it's called the Cloud Storage Cost Optimization Monitor. It runs this on a weekly basis and identifies conditions based on its invocation of an extension in order to determine whether there are recommendations around improving the cost of operating my data environment. So at the moment, it's going to run that whenever new recommendations for storage optimization appear, but I'm going to change that manually to just run it whenever I ask it to. And the extension itself is going to use this agent to summarize the storage optimization recommendations and notify me of any further cost-saving opportunities. You'll note that's all defined in natural language. These agents run on a heartbeat. So every time a pulse occurs, which by default is every 5 minutes, each agent will execute, perform its work, determine whether it's passed its conditions, and take the action associated with that. We can also run these agents manually. So I'm going to kick that one off now, and then view the operations in the Activity tab. You can see here previous activities from me issuing the command, the agent being created. But now that that agent's run, it's actually generated for me the report showing me optimization opportunities based on my actual data and the cost profiles of the storage systems that I've got access to. So a very simple implementation of an agent done with a natural language prompt in a matter of seconds. Let me show you another one. Research best practices for Apache Iceberg and create a skill for optimizing table partitioning. So here I'm asking the Data Agents extension to not just use capabilities from Symphony, but to reach out to the public internet and identify any information it can use to create a reusable skill, which it's created and placed here under my Skills tab, with details around best practices for partitioning Apache Iceberg tables. That's in free form. It's making references to public information from the Apache website and some blog content on LinkedIn around best practices for Iceberg partitioning. But the Data Agents extension has determined how to do that automatically and then captured it in the form of a skill that can be reused. So an example of how to use that skill. Use the Iceberg optimization skill twice a week to recommend the top 3 changes for my data environment. So here I'm asking Symphony, through the Data Agents extension, to create another agent, which is going to run twice a week, using that skill in order to give me optimization recommendations about my environment. You can see here, it's created my top Iceberg optimization recommendations agent, enabled that, gets recommendations from the extensions, takes action to analyze those, summarize and present the top 3 optimization changes for this environment, and in doing so, references that table partitioning skill that I created before. So as before, rather than running it twice a week, I'm simply going to ask that to be executed right now. If I go to my Activities tab, we can see that it's executing, and it's generated for me the report on the optimizations I can make in my environment with practical advice based on real-world skills. Now let's make some other changes here. Change the period of iceberg optimization to every day and update the title. So while I could do this work manually, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second, we can also interact with the command bar to make changes to my environment. So here, rather than every 84 hours, the data agents extension has updated that to be running it once a day. Let's change the title to be Daily Iceberg Optimization Recommendations. Equally, we can edit the agent definitions here by providing those details ourselves, updating the description, telling it from where it should obtain the information it uses to perform its work, and updating the natural language descriptions of any conditions or actions that it wants to take, as well as referencing skills that we might have created. I'll leave that in place. Let's do some other work. Remember that any tables with a test prefix should not be migrated to DR. So with this type of prompt, I'm trying to give the data agents extension information about my environment that it will hold in memory. If I go to my memory tab, and if we wait a moment for that to take effect, here it's just added a memory under the subject of DR migration, giving some context that will be usable by agents when they perform their work. So every memory that we record, or that is recorded for us as agents perform their work, can be used as the context when agents integrate with language models in order to optimize how they behave. Let's do one last task. Review licensing usage every day and report on the top 5 business units by consumption. So this is another example of using agents, in this case not to interact with extensions, but the operation of Symphony itself. And what I've asked for, of course, is for Symphony to review licensing usage and identify and report on the top 5 business units using the Symphony platform, which is really useful. Now, I said that was the last one, but I've got a few more examples to show. They don't take long. How many iceberg catalogs do I have? So in addition to using the command bar to create agents, which will operate autonomously, I can also ask simple questions. And we see the results in the Activity tab as well. So there's my command, how many iceberg catalogs do I have? And the response from the agent tells me I've got 9 unique iceberg catalogs, and then gives me details about their names. Let's do something more. Create a report now on the overall health of my data environment using the Iceberg Data Insights extension. So here I'm giving Symphony some very direct instructions on how to use a particular extension to generate information in the form of a report. And we should see shortly, under the Activity tab, the response to that user command. There it is, resulting in a report on the data environment's health based on the insights gained from interacting with that extension, giving me detail about optimizations on storage tiers and where I have hot, warm and cold data, telling me I don't have any critical anomalies, but that there are cost optimization opportunities through adjusting my storage tiers. All useful information. Now let's go back to the command prompt and now ask it a question which is going to reference some information it holds in memory. Should a table with a test prefix be migrated for disaster recovery? Now, obviously, that's not the case. I'll just complete the typing. Let's receive that command, and as before, it's going to give me a response very shortly. And we can see that the agent response includes the information that I've got stored in memory, telling me no, tables with test prefixes shouldn't be migrated, follows an established preference, which is one of the pieces of information I've got recorded in memory. So you can probably get a sense for how this extension brings together all of the functionality of Cirata Symphony, not only making it easier to use, but helps apply it immediately to solve problems that might otherwise take weeks of effort for a data platform team. These capabilities can immediately take advantage of other Symphony extensions as they're added and enabled in customer deployments of Symphony, making it become more powerful as those extensions add to the functionality of the platform. The Data Agents extension sits alongside our other Symphony extensions to bring together the intelligence of AI technologies with data orchestration to make complex data optimization, insights, and operations extremely simple and powerful. Learn more about Symphony at Cirata.com.